You guys don't think Did
That was a nice voice. Use that for the podcast.
you like that one? I can use that. I can use this all day long.
All right, all right. Welcome to
Kind of
Northwest
intimidating
Sports
to
Talk
talk like this all the time with a
206.
beard on my face.
We are here talking sports today at the Waterland Arcade. Welcome down here in downtown Des Moines every Saturday at 12:30. I want Mr. Scott here.
That's me.
He is my anointed baseball expert, and I got Mr. Prim next to me. Thinks he knows football, but it's all good. We are here talking sports every Saturday, like I said, at 12:30. We've got a few things to go over today. I'm really excited about. Man, we had some really good college football. Notre Dame beat Penn State. That was an awesome game. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about Ohio State beating Texas. We're going to talk about the championship game, Ohio State and Notre Dame, which we're going to see what's going to happen with that. We've got the concussion protocol playoff game coming up later this evening. Pittsburgh Steelers against Baltimore. All right, somebody's going on the list. Let me see what else we got here. We got Mariners. We got Mariners news. May not be news to Mr. Scott here, but we got another closer who's got an awesome slider. And check this. He dominated AAA. That's something that they'll talk about.
Not really.
We got some NBA news. We got the MVP race heating up. This guy, I can never really pronounce his name, but the guard for Oklahoma City, what's his name? How do you say his name? Anyways, is he going to be taking over for the MVP over Jokic? Numbers are pretty similar.
Gilgis Alexander?
Yeah, that's how you say his name. I can't
How
say
can
his
you
name.
not pronounce that?
Hey, I don't know.
Just say Shay.
I went to Renton High School. Please forgive me. Let's see. College basketball. And this is the question I wanted to ask because I do enjoy college basketball. What are you guys' thoughts on college basketball compared to college football? And where did Gonzaga come from? Now, I know where they're located.
Spokane.
I know where they're located. But where did they come from? Like, all of a sudden, out of nowhere. Because growing up, I never heard of Gonzaga. Until they got good, and all of a sudden, bam, here's Gonzaga on the stage, and they haven't left since. So they are in the top 10 this year. They're doing their thing. I got the top 10 right now that they were looking at: Auburn, Duke, Tennessee, Houston, Florida, Illinois, Iowa State, Alabama, Kansas, and Gonzaga at number 10. So what are y'all's thoughts on that? So we're going to start off with today. We're going to talk about the championship game. Who do you guys got winning and why? Your thoughts.
Ohio.
Come on.
Their defense is hungry. And over the last,
You mean Ohio State, right?
yeah,
Okay.
them Buckeyes. Yeah, their defense over the last 4 or 5 weeks has just stepped up their game another level every game the last 4 or 5 weeks, and they are hungry. They're dominating on the defensive side of the ball, and they're going to manhandle Notre Dame.
Think so. Okay. It's a manhandle.
That is hilarious. I'm a I'm a do or die indie kid, straight from the brickyard, born a mile away from the 500-mile race. Either you believe in Indiana University Hoosier basketball, or you believe in Notre Dame football. And these are two things that I totally believe in. And when I seen the Fighting Irish take my Hoosiers out behind the woodshed and beat them soundly after Rourke had such a tremendous run with them Hoosiers, man, I watched Notre Dame play the other night, and that game that they played, and watching what's the boy Jemiah Love, the running back.
Yeah.
That run that he had, you talking about hungry.
Yeah, you won.
I got a bad knee, bro. I done jumped over 3 cats just to get here. Realistically, Notre Dame, and I said it a few weeks ago. I threw his name out there probably about 4 or 5 podcasts ago. Riley Leonard, that quarterback, man. He is one of those cats that you're going to have to watch out for, and he might end up being the next Brock Purdy of this upcoming draft. So really pay attention and see what this young quarterback is going to be able to do coming into the league. he will be in the league. He will be on somebody's roster come next year. Guaranteed. Notre Dame quarterback, Riley Leonard. Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, I can agree with that. Riley Leonard, a phenomenal quarterback. I don't think he's going to slip all the way to the last, but I think he's going to be that third round pick, and just have a phenomenal career.
I hear you guys, but I guess I have to see the whole body of work. Watching that game, I didn't see the hype for him. I didn't see it. I didn't see it. I didn't see a very accurate throw of the football.
Then you didn't watch the
I think
game.
Brock Purdy. I did watch the game. Actually, I watched the game. I see Brock Purdy being, better accurate passer. I didn't see the accurate passer. I think he has a whole lot of it.
I'm not saying for the tools that he possesses.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that unexpected thing that
Okay.
come into the league.
Okay.
Remember, Purdy came out of Iowa, right?
Yeah.
You didn't see what Purdy was to become. When they picked, he was the last pick of the draft.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not saying that Leonard's going to be the last pick of the draft.
Right.
What I'm saying is that Leonard has the potential to be that guy that comes into the league and surprise you. He has that Josh Allen size, right? He has that ability to run. He's not shying away from tackles.
Okay.
He's a big boy who can throw the ball and run the ball. And yeah.
Okay.
I like
Yeah, he looks a lot like some of the older, like late 70s, early 80s quarterbacks.
Okay.
You know, they'll stand there in the pocket and he'll take the hit just to get that extra half second to throw the ball.
Interesting. Well, like I said, yeah, we're going to see, because I know he had a couple of turnovers this past game. And
I think he'd be
cost
nice to
him.
have here in Seattle.
They all did.
Yeah, they did.
Can you name anybody in this semifinals or this quarterfinals situation that didn't turn over the ball a few times? Will Howard turned over the ball.
Every single one of them did.
And Quinn Ewers, this
Yep.
guy.
But they're not considered top. They're not considered top prospects, though,
Ewers is
are they?
one of the top
Yeah,
prospects.
yeah,
He's like number
Quinn
three
Ewers,
right behind
yeah,
Rush.
he's
Okay.
3 or 4.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, you're right.
So then
We'll see.
Talk about Will Howard. Will Howard is next behind them guys, and then throw in the Jackson Darts in between.
And don't forget Drew Aller from Penn.
And Drew Allen had a game.
Yeah.
Now, if I look at the take of this game of who I believe is going to win, I think this is what I think. It's going to have one or two different things. Either they're going to get dominated and blown out by Ohio State because their passing game kind of sucks compared to that of Ohio State, or Notre Dame's just going to physically dominate them, smash mouth, control the game in such of a way that they might be able to inch out a win. Now you're going to have to be able to get some turnovers, do some different things, but I'm believing Ohio State will blow them out. I think it's just not going to be a contest.
Oh, no, I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
I think it's going to be a blowout.
I think it'll be a one-score game,
Yeah.
just like the Notre Dame-Penn State game was a one-score game, but it's going to be physically dominated by Ohio.
Okay. I guess I will predict 34-14. Ohio State.
Nah,
That's me.
I'm saying something like 21-17 Ohio.
Okay.
I think it's
But
21, 24, something like that.
But you know, if I'm right, I'm going to look really good in this seat. I just want you to know that.
You think you look good no matter what, anyway.
Yes, I do. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, he's been wrong so often.
Oh, look at these guys. They're trying to call me Skip Bayless of the Northwest Sports Talk. Ain't that something? All right. So going back to the semifinal games, which game would intrigue you the most between Notre Dame beating Penn State, or Ohio State beating Texas?
I liked the Notre Dame-Penn State game better. I think that was a game between two phenomenal quarterbacks, two good offenses, and two really good defenses.
Okay.
That was an actual good game. I wasn't surprised by Ohio dominating Texas the way they did.
Okay.
But did they really dominate Texas like that?
They didn't
Turnover,
dominate, but
got
I
the
mean,
pick six. I mean, the strip sack.
it was definitely a one-sided game.
That was like a 14-point swing, isn't it right there? You're about to go in and score or get a field goal at least. You get sacked, fumble, you return it all the way for a touchdown. That's like a 14-point swing.
Yeah, it
Ewers got lucky.
I know.
Ewers
Just like Prim talking for no reason. Oh, that was a good joke. Go ahead, bro.
Ewers got lucky a lot. And that's kind of one of those things is for a lot of the mistakes that he made, I mean, like, he would just get away with stuff. You'd be like, did he just when he went down on the knee and he flicked the ball, he happened to get the ball off just before his knee hit the ground? He was lucky.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, realistically, that Texas Ohio game, the Golden put in work out there playing receiver. He was killing them. It was just one of those games that it was. I think it was closer than what it ended up being. It was just like everything was like a split second off from being totally worse than what it was.
It was definitely just a flip of a coin, the coin spinning.
Yeah. I mean, like,
that last second before it falls over. And
I'm like, Ewers got out of 3 sacks. I mean, like he just flipped the ball away in situations where he should have been sacked.
Yeah.
And so that game was phenomenal. But that Notre Dame Penn State game, man, it was a slugfest. And what it really came down to. It came down to who had the ball in their hands last with enough time to make something happen. And that happened to be Riley Leonard.
Yep. No, and that's exactly why I liked that game. Like I said, 2 phenomenal quarterbacks, 2 good defenses, and 2 good offenses. It was an actual battle the entire game. You couldn't say who was going to win that game up until the last 2 minutes.
Well, I could say who was going to win the game. I said it before the game started.
You could say you wanted them to win, but you weren't guaranteeing it.
Look, Notre Dame is well. Again, I already done told you. I'm riding with them through the whole thing.
Okay, Rudy.
Yeah, hey, Rudy. You already know. I built like Rudy. I had the speed of Rudy.
You got the looks of Rudy.
But I had the dogged mentality to stay in there and keep pushing away. Okay. I'll be there, Rudy. But Notre Dame is
red shirt your senior year.
Notre Dame is one of those places that is special, man. It is just special, and it's to know what the possibility for Marcus Freeman to be the first African American head coach and Korean American head coach, as he threw out there, to be in this particular national title game ever. There's never been an African American or a minority coach in one of these games ever at this particular point in time, and it's historic in that point of view. But to see it at Notre Dame is something special.
Oh yeah, I agree, and I liked his interview after the game when they mentioned that to him, and he was like, I'm not here to take away from the team. Yeah, it's a cool thing and all, but that's not what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about how do I produce with my team and continue to grow the team through the end of the season and then grow it again next season. That's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at, I'm a minority in the college football playoffs.
But see, and this is the thing that kills me is, again, I'm an Indiana kid, right? So I'm just wondering if Newt Rockne is rolling over in his grave seeing this black boy run this team. I mean, like, we have some issues in Indy going way back for a long time. I think it would probably be like Deion Sanders taking over Alabama. It would be a wild situation just to see that. So
yeah, so that game, I almost feel like watching the game, I felt like Penn State was a better team. That's just my thoughts. Or I feel like Penn State should have won that game. It was so physical. It just reminds me of 90s football. It really reminded me like we went back a little bit. Early 90s, 90, 91, like physical, get after it type of game. That pick, rolling to your left, throwing across the middle pick, I felt bad for that kid. But it was like that was just something that you don't throw. You don't throw that ball across the middle. But like I said, you're in a game, you sling it, you see something, you trust your eyes and you went for it.
Russell would have thrown that ball.
Oh, here we go with this again. And so would have Brett Favre, but we probably would have made that throw.
But then again, Leonard had made the same play just before.
Yep.
Right? So even, I mean, it was interception for interception in crucial situations because Leonard threw that same interception. And the question is at that point is, Why are you even throwing the ball? Technically, we got this thing wrapped up. Why are we even running or throwing the ball?
Well, it's just like the play last week, was it, where the guy got his 1,000 yard season or whatever.
Oh,
it was an obvious kneel down
Yeah.
situation. Oh, we're gonna put him in and let him get his 15 yards that he needs.
Yeah, that's a historic thing, and that's a career. Like, I've had to play 11 years and get 1,000 yards for 11 years to be in position to do this. You know what I'm saying? So,
No,
me,
I'm not faulting him wanting to do that, but that was a clear kneel down, call the game over situation, and the coach said, "Oh no, we're putting him in."
Nah,
what do you now? You're the coach that does that, and that ball gets picked. Now what?
Hey, this is Jerry Rice. If I put this ball out there, nobody better touch this ball but you. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's those type of situations. Yep. Like, bruh, if we do this, you better come up with it. And so the pressure is on the receiver at that point. Yep. And some of it's on the quarterback. But Baker, you better make sure that ball is on target, and Evans, you better make sure you catch it.
Yep,
So,
yep.
And that's one of the things I was telling Bogan, and I think I brought it up in our chat, is that it's the same situation that we're talking about Saquon Barkley. When will you ever be in this position again? For Mike Evans, there's no way that he can run out 10 more consecutive years of 1,000 yards and to be on the verge again of another 1,000-yard season to get 11. You have to do that in that situation. Yeah. This is a career situation. But with Saquon, he can line up and play again next year, and maybe they can push for a 2,000 and go and break Eric Dickerson's record. But what's the likelihood of it? Not much. It's very slim. And so, realistically, that's the question I threw out there earlier. Which one was worse? If Philly doesn't win the Super Bowl, when you take Saquon and sit him out, when he's 101 yards away from breaking Eric Dickerson's record that has stood for over 30 years, if you don't win the Super Bowl, you've robbed this kid of a historic record. At one that would go down in the NFL record books as Philadelphia Eagles running back.
Yep.
Being a top for the number one season ever as a rusher. So I mean, like, those are career things that you can never, those career milestones that you cannot mess up for a player.
Yep.
Interesting. Since you brought that up, I do want to add my little 2 cents. Now, one thing I thought of on the ride here when you brought that up, if Saquon Barkley does turn an ankle, anything, and he doesn't play, and somehow they get beat by Green Bay, head coach is fired. I mean, he is fired because Philly fans are going to be like, why did you play Barkley? Why did you put him on the field? We've already got this thing wrapped up. So it's just something to think about. And that's why I say I hate sometimes that job security is in football because then politics plays a part in what we do.
He might be fired anyway if they don't win the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. But that's a good point. But I think concretely, if he got hurt, he would have been done. That's just a thought. So like I said, we've got the playoffs today. We've got Houston and the Chargers, right, at 1:30 coming up real soon. Then we got the concussion protocol game, Lamar Jackson versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. And what's interesting about these two games, and I kind of want to get your take on it, is the Chargers have quietly kind of like been this consistent, persistent team rising up. You don't know too many players on a team. Not like the loud team back in the day when you had what's his name, LT and Rivers, and you had the guy with doing the lights out, Sean Merriman and stuff like that. A team that was loaded but never reached its full potential. What do you make about this Charger team playing against Houston, which Houston has the weakest division of football? But like I said, it's a one and done here right now, playing against them. Then you got Lamar Jackson, who has not played too well against Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers have seem to own him. What do you think about these two games? And do you think that Lamar Jackson really puts the cape on and plays Lamar Jackson type football? Well, he's going to run it when he sees run, pass it when it's time to pass? Or do you think he gets tight? You know what I'm saying? Because there's so much on this game coming up. Who do you guys got? You know who I got. I got Russell Wilson and Pittsburgh Steelers upsetting the Baltimore Ravens. I think Russell's going to cook this game against Baltimore.
I think Russell's going to get cooked.
And then I'm looking at the Chargers taking care of business against Houston, even though Houston has home field advantage. I'd love to get y'all's take on these two games.
Well, you already know how I feel about Russell. He can.
Yeah?
I think Lamar is going to step up his game a little bit. I'm not saying he's going to go back to it like his rookie year and just have this phenomenal playoff series.
Okay.
But I think he's going to pick apart that Steelers defense.
Okay.
He's going to, like you said, he's going to hit those passes when he knows he's got a good shot at hitting them. They're going to run the ball, but I'm pretty sure Lamar and the Ravens are going to win that game. And the Chargers over the Texans, I think that one's going to be a close game.
Okay.
And it's going to be just like that Notre Dame Penn game. It's going to come down to who's got the ball at the last minute to make the final play.
Back and forth? Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a back and forth game.
Okay.
So realistically, I don't see it that way at all. I see it as you're going to get a big dose of King Henry. Derrick Henry's going to run this game against Pittsburgh. I understand that when we start talking about the Harbaughs, they play the game right. Okay? It's going to be, this is playoff football. This ain't that, we're going to throw it all around the yard type thing. We are going to line up and punch you in the mouth and run this ball down your throat. That's what you're going to get from the Chargers. That's what you're going to get from the Ravens. And if you have an opportunity to dare try to stop Mr. Henry, King Henry, you better watch out Lamar don't go around the edge on you and end up take off.
Read option.
And what we saw about 80s football, 80s, 90s football. The formula back then to win championships and to win in playoffs was to run the ball and play great defense. Yep. There's only two teams that can do that, right now. Baltimore is capable of playing great defense and running the ball unlike any other team in this thing right now next to Philadelphia. Philadelphia is going to play great defense, and they are going to run the ball. So, and don't forget Detroit, same thing. Yep. So all those favorite guys that we see, that's the way it's going to be done. So I expect L.A. to walk away with a win against Houston, right? I just do. I can't see it any other way. Jim Harbaugh has been that guy. That is his calling card, is physicality. That's why he is in the playoffs, running the ball and taking care of the ball. Yeah. It's why they're here. I believe the Chargers will win. The sad thing is I don't really want to see that happen. I would love to see C.J. Stroud win. Yeah. But my mind tells me that it's going to be a Chargers win and a Baltimore win tonight. So, and like you said, I'm looking forward to seeing that black and blue division renewed tonight.
Yeah.
Russell's going to wake up black and blue tomorrow.
Oh, man. So we also got tomorrow's games. We'll talk about those Sunday games. Broncos versus Bills. Packers versus Eagles. Between the Eagles, I'm going to play this game with you too. Between the Eagles and the Bills, which team do you believe will possibly can get upset between those two?
I think the Bills have a better chance of being upset.
Think so? Both of you guys going Bills? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm saying the Eagles. Pressure.
Yeah.
Sometimes pressure.
He is a Russell fan.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers all day. Hey, I'm taking the Packers all day in this game. But yeah, I hear what you're saying though, because Buffalo. How frustrating is it to be a Bills fan? I mean, just think of
Well,
just
you
think,
know what
think
Bills
about the
stands
five.
for?
What?
Bills. Boy, I love losing Super Bowls.
He took it right out of my mouth. But
The only team in history to go 4 years in a row and lose all 4 times.
oh my gosh, that is true. How hard is that to go to the Super Bowl 4 years
In a row
in a row
and not
lose?
win one.
4 years, you're on the brink of a championship and you don't get it done. You know, and even in the modern area, there's so many times where the Bills are favored. They're going in the playoffs. They're stacked. Allen's supposed to do his thing, and then nothing.
Boy, I love losing Super Bowls.
And the Broncos are playing pretty decent football now.
No.
You know, but he's a rookie quarterback, and rookie quarterbacks tend to not be so successful in the playoffs because it's a new season. Just like when you transfer from high school to college to pros, when you go from regular season NFL to the playoffs, it's a different breed of football. And I know that just by playing, even in high school, regular season come playoff time, oh my gosh. The game is faster. People are chasing after balls. People are scratching and clawing, doing a little extra stuff. It's different intensity. And if you're not mentally tough, either you're going to fold or you're just going to have a bad game. But like I said, I'm picking the Packers today. Oh, I'm going to look like a genius come next time we do this podcast.
No.
Somebody's going to be kissing the ring.
You're going to look like you swung from one side of the autism spectrum to the other.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know if that's
we're done. Oh,
I never claimed to be PC.
oh my
well.
goodness.
You know what?
Go ahead.
You know what? I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
And Bo Nix is probably one of the surprise quarterbacks this season. As far as no, it was too. He went too early. So, but realistically, I watched Bo Nix in them games that him and Penix played when he was at Oregon. They were again, just like that Aller Riley Leonard game.
Yeah, I remember.
They were whoever has the ball at the end has the opportunity to win it, right?
Yep.
And so when I look at Bo Nix does have the opportunity to go out there and win this game. But when I turn around,
It's got that mindset though.
but it's and I'm gonna get jumped on by all the Buffalo Prims around the country that are my family is deep in Buffalo, brother. So they're Bills Mafia all day long. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
I am too. So realistically, when I seen the Bills come out here, I think we should have won that game against the Bills. I think we could have won that game against the Bills.
I think the Bills are the Mariners of the NFL.
I look, I'm not going to disrespect the Bills, unlike my co-host, but I think the Bills, during the 90s when they lost those 4 Super Bowls, I lost about $130 every about $20, $30 here, 21 year, 30 years, because I wanted to see the Bills win. I wanted to see them win. And it seemed like they were, Andre Reed and all them guys. I wanted to see them win. Yeah, I thought that I thought that they had the better defense. I thought that Thurman Thomas was the better running back. I thought that they just had everything in place. But realistically, they might be the one who is the more likely to actually get upset. I mean, realistically, I could see the Bills losing. I could see the Bills losing in the first round and going out. But there's a toughness to the way that they do things that I don't think that it would be an easy loss for them. I think that if you want to beat the Bills, you're going to have to come out here and punch them in the mouth and take it. And I think the Broncos might actually be up to the challenge finally.
I think they're capable of it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that they're set up to do that at this moment, but I think they're definitely the driving force, and I think they definitely have the opportunity. And like you said, it's going to come down to that last couple minutes who's got that ball and going to do something with it. And
Well-
Bo Nix definitely does have that capability.
Well, Scott, and I told you just earlier, when it comes to Philadelphia, I'm riding for Philadelphia just because, man, can you imagine? You sat Saquon Barkley out just so he could, y'all going to the Super Bowl. And the reason why you sat him out to instead of breaking a record that stood for 30 years, 40 years, is so y'all
that
go
you can get to the Super Bowl.
And
Exactly.
if you don't make it, man, hey, look, I would feel so bad for Philadelphia in that situation and Barkley in that situation. So I hope they don't get upset. I hope Philly doesn't go down early. But I like what Philadelphia is, the way that they're built. I like the way that they're built. And again, I could ride with the Broncos.
There's one thing you brought we did not bring up, and which makes me nervous about Philly. Not nervous, but what makes me doubt Philly is the quarterback situation. And he just came out of protocol. He just got back to practice. Seemed like just yesterday. Oh, it matters. Trust me, it matters. And being rusty, maybe not running, being gun shy, running the football. Because if Philly comes out rusty and another team comes out, ready to go, that could be a problem.
He ain't going to be rusty.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
He might lose a half a step,
Okay.
but it by the end of the first quarter, you're going to see he's going to be just fine.
Okay.
And that's the thing.
Because missing practice and stuff does mess up your preparation. Yes, you've had all these games, but still, heading into the playoffs, he's been out for a little bit. That does, if I'm a fan of the Eagles, if this was my team, Seahawks, I would be kind of like questioning if we were heading into the playoffs and let's say Geno Smith or Russell Wilson during his time, missing a couple of weeks or a week here, going into the playoffs, being away
You
from
should have
the
been
facility.
questioning the Seahawks the whole season, but you didn't.
You know what I'm saying?
So don't start with that because you can't question them when you didn't question the Seahawks all season long.
Oh,
I questioned them all season.
Oh, I questioned them, but my faith
questioned
went higher. You know what I'm
some
saying?
decision.
Yeah, my faith went higher. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes a fan. We're always praying, hoping, and wishing that our team is successful. But sometimes we be knowing.
Jalen Hurts, his whole career has been playing rusty. I don't know that I've ever seen it. Well, I don't know that I've ever seen Jalen Hurts be the most crisp passer of the ball. I've never seen him be the most. He is going to come out and just do his thing. I don't. With a quarter of a brain, he's going to do his thing. Jalen Hurts is, I think, more. What do you call it? Instinctive. Everything he plays on instinct more than anything else.
I don't even think it's instinct. I think it's muscle memory.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's just, here I take 3 steps to the left and I throw it to the right. That's just what he does.
Well, and then here you go back to what I was talking about earlier. If you sat Saquon,
Yep.
if Jalen Hurts is not just turning around and handing the ball to Saquon, I don't know what we're doing. Especially if you're worried about him coming out of concussion protocol. If he's not handing the ball off to Saquon just to run the rock, what are you doing? What are you doing? The more times you put the ball in the air is more opportunities for you to lose this game.
Yep.
And the one thing we know that's going to happen is Saquon is the mail carrier. He is the mail carrier. He will run the rock effectively. He will hold on to the ball, and he is not going to turn it over. That is one thing that he does not do, and that's one thing that we can expect him to do constantly is to run through your defense, and that's just going to be what it is. Ball control, good defense, and, man, hopefully Jalen – and that's the thing is how much of the tush push is we going to get? How much of that brotherly shove is we going to get? Because all you're doing is putting his head into danger at that point. So we'll see. I just like to say Saquon Saquon is Saquon for a reason, and there is no other Saquon out there. We call them all out. You call him LT, right? We call him lights out. You know, we can call all the big dudes by their names. But when it comes to Saquon and Zeke, we know who is going to be out here and who's going to dominate. Barry, we know Barry. Come on. I mean, just run them off. What's your favorite one? Bo? I mean, hey, Saquon's going to be the one that's going to win this game for Philly. Just guaranteed.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I wanted to kind of switch gears just a little bit. I know somebody on my right says there's not much to this, but I do want to talk about this Mariners news because I'm coming from the bottom when it comes to baseball IQ, but I'm getting there. We do understand that the Mariners did add Blue Jays pitcher Hagen Danner. And what I hear that he dominated AAA, which anybody has to do to move up, but also he has a great slider. And it also said, you know, you say you can't have too many good pitchers, right? In baseball. Now I'm really asking, like, is it you can never have too many good pitchers, especially if he's young. He's only 25, right?
Correct.
He's young, right? And how many closers do you need? Number one, throughout a whole season, and if he has a great upside and he reaches his potential, is this a good pickup for the Mariners?
Long term, yes.
Okay.
Long term, it is a great pickup because Munoz is not going to be around forever.
Okay.
He's still fairly young, but he's just not going to be there forever.
Okay.
There isn't a closer out there that has dominated year after year after year after year for their entire career.
Okay.
No.
Uh-oh. Mariano,
yes, but that was in a Yankees organization.
Okay.
We don't count the Yankees because they farm everything from everybody. Yes, we can because the Yankees suck. Exactly.
My God.
Munoz is a top 5 closer, has been for years, and he's going to continue for another couple of years. Hagen is not going to come up this year. I do not see it coming up. If he does, he's going to come up in a setup role, not as a closer. Unless Munoz gets hurt. And I don't foresee that because Munoz is like super adamant about taking care of himself, which is really odd. But long term, yes, this pickup of Hagen is a good idea because it's looking ahead to when Munoz does fall off. Now we've got to step up. And we have the best pitching development in the league. We have developed more big-name stars over the last 10 years than any other team when it comes to pitching. So bringing him here and helping him to develop and become that next-level pitcher, smartest move on both their parts.
Okay.
Ours for picking him up, his for coming over.
Okay.
As to what it means for this year, jack. It means nothing because we don't need pitching. We have pitching. We have 6 effective starters right now.
Okay.
We have an unlimited supply of mid-length relievers, short-term relievers, setup guys. So our pitching staff is fine. We don't need to touch it at all. Okay. We need a third baseman, a first baseman, and a second baseman.
Okay.
Right now, our infield consists of J.P. Crawford.
Now,
you could have the best pitching start. You could have the top 5 starters in all of baseball, the number 1 closer and the number 1 setup guy, and we would still lose 60% of the games because you don't have an infield.
So let me ask you this question. Could picking up Hagen be a bargaining chip to get bats down the line?
No.
They don't do that?
No, they're not going to use that. Right now, the major trade talk that's going on right now is Nolan Arenado from the St. Louis Cardinals, third baseman.
Okay.
He announced that he is opening up his trade clause to include 3 or 4 other teams, and he specifically said Seattle is one of those teams.
Why would a bat want to come to Seattle?
Why? Yeah, why wouldn't you come to Seattle and prove you're as good as they think you are?
Well, I'm just asking, just from I guess
So-
outside looking in, because it's not a very good park to hit home runs on. But you don't play all your games at home anyway.
Nolan Arenado is not a massive home run guy.
Okay.
He's a get on base guy.
Oh, okay, there you go.
And his defense is similar to Kyle Seager.
Okay, I'm assuming home runs when you say bats. I got what you're saying.
We
He's
don't
a great
necessarily
hitter.
need the home run hitters. We need a guy that's going to hit the ball and produce runs.
Okay.
Not necessarily home runs.
Okay, makes
Hitting
sense.
a solo home run means jack shit, but if you can get a couple guys on base and drive them in,
Man,
I'll
them
take
home runs
that
is
all day
points.
long.
What are you talking about?
1 versus 3.
Yeah, I got you.
So
I got you.
by doing that, I think that's a good idea. And St. Louis does need pitching, which kind of brings up the Luis Castillo thing again.
Right.
So Luis Castillo is still in the talks, but I don't foresee Seattle moving him right now
Okay.
for one simple reason. Roki is still on the table. It was just released yesterday that Roki's signing opportunity will start on the 15th and end on the 25th, which leaves us 19 days before pitchers and catchers report. So between the 15th and 25th is when all of Roki Sasaki's trading deals are going to go on. He's going to start visiting teams in that area. He's going to start visiting everyone. He's going to make his decision in that 10-day period.
Okay.
Until he makes his decision, Seattle is not set on moving anybody when it comes to pitching.
Okay.
Trust me, I want to move somebody and get somebody in. here.
So if you're right, Scott, that's stupid. That is absolutely stupid. You need to do something now to before pitchers and catchers report, so
Right.
you can actually get going. I
Right.
mean, like, come on, man.
But here's the thing, though. They're looking at it as this. They've got 5 top starters right now. If they get rid of Castillo now, just to get a bat, they have to bring up a pitcher to be a starter. The only one close is Hancock, and he's there, but he's not. I don't think he's a number 5 starter yet.
But come on, man. I mean, like, why would you allow somebody that we don't even know what they're going to do in this league dictate what you do right now? And guess what? Just like Hae-Sung Kim, he might decide to go to the Dodgers too. So
Right.
So I mean, like, you know, we talked about said
Yeah.
Mariners is just another term for Dodgers.
Yep.
We're looking at the Mariners, and you end up being a Dodger. That's what that does. We cannot sit here and be hamstrung by the
The
potential,
possibility.
the possibility. You need to be proactive. And brother, I'm gonna tell you like this: until they start putting some money out here and doing some business, I'm boycotting. I'm not doing no Mariners nothing.
You go ahead, boycott.
I got to. I got to. And I hope everybody else boycotts.
I
with
will support them regardless.
I support them, but it's going to be from a distance, and they won't see a dollar of mine because it is to me.
If
this
you
is
turn
the
on Root and watch their games,
well,
if you turn on 7:10 a.m. and listen to the game on the radio, you've given them $1.
change it to 93.3 at that point. Oh boy.
I think we lost the mic. But so here's the thing about Arenado, though. Okay, so if we do go and we trade for Arenado, which he's 33, 34 years old, something like that. He's been in the league a few years. He's 7 Silver Sluggers, 10 Gold Gloves. So he's a proven entity and a force at third base. Okay, he's owed $74 million over the next 3 years. That's the length of his contract still remaining. 10 of which is still owed to him, or he's being covered by Colorado. Okay, so that's $64 million. We have to do something to get him. If we've only got $15 million to work with, somebody's got to go. The only one that can go is Castillo. A year for 3 years.
Doing the math, you're stopping. You're saving about
Yep, exactly. So that's what we're looking at. But now here's the key to that: Castillo still has to waive his trade clause. So now we've got two guys, both under a trade clause, that are being tied together in a trade. So there's a lot of aspects that have to come down for this to actually happen.
But it sounds like that the potential of the giving up the trade clause is there.
Yeah.
Not having conversations about that.
Right. And it is expected that Castillo is willing to be traded. It's just, is he willing to be traded to these teams? He was willing to go to Boston during that talk with us getting him and Costas. The Mariners turned it down because they didn't want to pick up Yoshida's contract. That's why that trade fell through. They did not want Yoshida's contract. If Boston would have said, "Oh, we'll cover half of his contract" or whatever, I'll bet that trade happens. But they did not want to take on Yoshida's contract.
The reason why that didn't happen, you ready for it?
Money.
It's yeah, you're right. It's money, but the issue is not just Yoshida's contract. They want you to take Castillo's contract too. We don't want to take on Yoshida's contract, but we want you to also take on Castillo's $24 million a year. How unfair of a deal is that? I mean, like, what they're asking for is unreasonable. And this is what I'm talking about. So you can't keep asking for the unreasonable in these trade deals and expect something to happen. Look, unless you putting a gun in somebody's mouth and telling them, say, hey, either you sign this contract or we're putting the blood on the contract, there's no way that these deals are getting done. They don't even make sense in the long run. And that's what I'm just like, you can make the Nolan deal. Make the Nolan deal. That one makes sense. We'll swap contracts for the players. That makes sense. You save $8 million. Now you have $8 million to go with the 15 to go out and go ahead and sign Pete Alonso finally, if that's what's really going to happen. That's $23 million that we could throw out there for Pete.
Alonso may not be available.
That is ridiculous.
No, Alonso may not be available. He actually just made an offer to the Mets as a take it or leave it 3-year deal. Yes. He flat out said, this is what I want, 3 years, this is my minimum. You take it or I'm finding another team.
Well, there you have it. Getting spicy about the Mariners. So we are about to take about a 10-minute break here at Northwest Sports Talk 206 in downtown Des Moines, Waterland Arcade. Come on down. As you can see, a bunch of kids running around having a good time. But, yeah, check us out. So 10-minute break, and we will see you in a little bit after Pim gets done playing with his camera. I'll see you in 10. diving into my favorite part of the podcast, where we're going to sprinkle a little bit of Seahawks in there, even though my team is irrelevant.
You get blasted?
Well, this is not necessarily get blasted or not. We're just going to generally have a conversation about the Seahawks' new offensive coordinator. Now, a couple of names I have up here from my. We have Clint Kubiak, former Saints offensive coordinator with strong background in various offensive roles, including quarterbacks, wide receivers, and passing game coordinator. We got Dave Rogue, current Rams quarterback coach with experience as an offensive coordinator and working with quarterbacks as well. We have Marcus Brady, Chargers passing game coordinator. We have Hank, am I saying that right? Franley, Lions offensive coach, who works his way up from being an assistant. We got T. Martin, who is the Ravens quarterback coach. And we also have Jake Peets, current Seahawks passing game coordinator, which is interesting. I've heard his name come up often.
He's already been cut out.
Right? So it's interesting because we have, the Rams. We've been plucking from that tree a little bit, and a lot of people are plucking from that tree because of Sean McVay. So out of these names, is there any names that you guys have heard that might be a good fit, or if you want to elaborate on one of the names that I brought up? Kubiak? I mean, do you guys want a coordinator, or do you want I'm not. Of course, we want a coordinator, but do you want a passing game coordinator or running game coordinator? When you want an offensive a guru that has been proven on the level, because a lot of all these are projects that people have been mentored, like the next best thing, right? Because we're thirsty for the Seahawks to be relevant right now. You know what I mean?
No, see, what we need is that project, because right now our offensive line is a project. We need someone who knows how to handle the offensive line, how to develop the offensive line, and maintain it. And some of these guys can do that, some of them can't. But Kubiak is definitely the guy I would see as the front runner, because he can develop the talent for all aspects of the offense.
Quarterback, wide receiver.
Yeah, so that's what we need. We need to build our offensive line so that the other components of our offense make sense and actually end up working. You can't have 4-star wide receivers, 2-star running backs, and a great quarterback if your offensive line is crap. So we need the guy that's going to come in and bring all those pieces of the component together and make the one tool.
Okay, so
Shane Waldron's available too.
yeah, nobody wants Shane Waldron. So the day that they let Grubb go, there was one name that popped up that same day, but it wasn't necessarily popped up as a candidate, but we have to consider it. I like Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson, and by saying I like Doug Peterson, that means that I'm looking at a particular coaching tree in which he comes from. If not Doug Peterson, and they're talking to Clint Kubiak, I am looking at somebody like him. He's not a project. He has ran the Saints offense starting this year. That Saints offense was putting up 40 points a game early in the season, and then everybody started dropping like flies. They've had injury after injury after injury. By the time that the season was over, they were down Alvin Kamara. They were down Derek Carr. What you have to and then understand when we say Clint Kubiak, when I say comes from a coaching tree, ready? He's Gary Kubiak's son, right? Gary Kubiak comes from where? The Shanahan tree, right? He came up under Mike Shanahan. He is one of those coaches who has learned the game from a guy who learned the game from the guy, Bill Walsh, right? So when you sit there and say, okay, well, I like Kubiak. Kubiak is going to bring what? He's going to bring a running game, right? What we learned from Mike Shanahan a long time ago is they can build a running game that does not is not dictated by who the running back is. We're going to run this stretch play, and you're going to hit one hole and go. When we have problems being able to protect the quarterback in the pocket, what do? We roll the quarterback out. We roll the pocket. We bootleg, right? These are things that are basically understood concepts that Grubb did not understand. You need to get the ball out quicker, faster. If you don't move the pocket and you can't move, there's way of scheming protection for your quarterback. So one thing I do understand is that you're not going to get from a Shanahan disciple a weak offensive line. And where it's weak, they're going to hide that. What does that mean? We're going to go we're going to bring an extra tight end in. We're going to run Hey, man, look. What we want is a game that's going to look like that Broncos team that back in the 90s where it didn't matter if you had Willis McGahee, right? Clinton Portis, right? Who was the other dude? Davis. They just brought dude out. They brought guys out. You'd be like, well, who is this dude? Where did he come from? They would just bring people out one after another, and you never understood how they still got the production, right? Building a quarterback. This is something that is learned in a Shanahan system. This is something that Peterson does. This is something, and you know where Peterson comes from. He comes from that Andy Reid, Mike Holmgren tree, right? Who learned under Bill Walsh. These are fundamental things that are going to be necessary. If we don't know anything, we know that one thing is going to be the case with Kubiak. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball. We're going to play action. We're going to run the ball. We're going to throw it down the field. You're going to be short dink and dunks, right? We're going to move DK around the formation. We're going to move Jackson around the formation. You're not going to be able to line up. And the worst thing that could have ever happened to Kubiak is he could sit there behind what's the boy, Nathaniel Hackett, and be the coach for Russell Wilson when they were stinking it up in Denver. Other than that, what he's shown in New Orleans, he has the potential to be one of the best offensive coordinators and if he gets here, if he does get here and we do decide to take him, he's probably going to be a one and done. But hopefully we win a Super Bowl in that one and done. That sounds crazy. I know. Seahawks in 1 year could win the Super Bowl, but it's not impossible. I think we have all the tools and the equipment to build a Super Bowl, except for the fact that we need to have an offensive line that can complement what this offense wants to do. If that offensive line is fixed, man, sky's the limit.
Interesting take. All right. So I don't have much on my docket here, but I do want to say this, and this is going to be one of my takes. I want each one of you guys to have a take. One of my take is, guess what sport I'm going to pick when I do my last take? Oh, he already knows. With that being said,
you're going to pick women's lacrosse.
There's a lot happening in women's lacrosse.
So what I'm going to say in my final take is I'm going to really be watching these playoffs and really watching and seeing who's going to come out. I'm going to be paying close attention to Baltimore to see what they do this year, what Buffalo does this season. And I'm going to be really waiting and going through the national championship game as well and seeing the prospects of next year, because I know my Seattle Seahawks are just a couple of players away from the promised land, a couple of players away, a free agent away. What could have been this season is great. How many games that the Seattle Seahawks could have won if they had an effective running game? And that's going to be the thing. How many more games we could have won if we had a running game? And how hard is it to fix? Right? Like I said before, I'm more leaning toward the offensive line was not as bad as it looked, but the fact that the scheme didn't fit the personnel and what he wanted to do offensively didn't work at the end. So I'm going to have nightmares for the next couple of weeks of what could have been. I know he's tired. He's rolling his eyes. But we're going to see what's going to happen here in the next couple of weeks. So I'm really looking forward to watching this final few weeks of the college football and the NFL season kind of come to an end. And you got the Super Bowl next month. Really want to see. Matter of fact, we didn't go who you believe are going to be our Super Bowl winners. Who are Super Bowl? He's got Detroit. To be honest with you, who did I pick in preseason? I picked Pittsburgh. I pitched Pittsburgh out of the AFC. And out of the NFC, I picked – I don't even remember. I have to go back to our first episode here.
It's not going to be Kansas City.
No, I think it was Pittsburgh versus Philly. Yep, I picked Pittsburgh versus Philly, which is kind of weird because I'm rooting for Green Bay. So that's my final take of the day.
My final take is, of course, about baseball. You know, kind of like you and your Seahawks. So I don't care about the slider. The slider is actually an overrated pitch in my opinion. But the Mariners need to step up and bring the fans what we want. Most of us fans are not necessarily saying we need a World Series now and we need it in the next 5 years. We want to see the playoff push from day one with a staff and a lineup that we feel is competitive and is competitive all season long. Stop pussyfooting around and doing absolutely nothing during the offseason, trying to make extravagant trades at the trade deadline in the middle of July, and then falling short. Grab your guy in the offseason when they're a free agent, put him through the system the whole year through, and get to the damn playoffs. That is what I want to see. That's my take, is the Mariners need to stop falling short, do what needs to be done in the offseason, get those players in here, and stop doing this trade deadline bull crap.
Well, I guess my final take, if we're really want to be honest, we need to start looking at this college playoff situation for what it really is. Realistically, we've watched the last couple weeks, and I want to say the last 2 days, where we've seen quarterbacks who are in that next echelon, that next tier of quarterbacks, show what they're made of, the poise that they have down the stretch of games, where games actually matter, where they actually count. We have to really start looking at it for what it is. If you do not have the makeup, the mental makeup, or the attitude or the mentality to play on this level, then you don't have that mentality or the ability to play on the next. If you cannot win in college, you cannot win in the pros. There's a multitude of reasons why. We leave Shindor alone. Scott's always going to be messy. But when we start talking, and that's and here's and this is that point. So when you have a Will Howard, right, who is projected to be one of that fourth, fifth round pick type selection, he is one of those guys who is behind the darts. He's behind the Allards. We don't even know if Allard is even coming out this year. And we have Riley Leonard. You have these guys that are playing for a national title. These guys have the opportunity and the talent and the poise to be champions on the college level, but can they bring that same mentality to the professional level? Now, when we watch it, and we were talking earlier, the physicality of what we see in this college playoffs, yeah, that actually matches up with what the NFL really should look like right now. They look physical, hungry, and ready to win. I like seeing that out of these quarterbacks. And when a cat like Riley Leonard can throw an interception, come back, lead his team down and get themselves in a position to actually win a game, that is something that we're looking for. These are the next level, and here you go. Everybody wants to have a superstar quarterback, but nobody wants to have a quarterback that can manage the game. If you have a DK Metcalf and a Jackson Smith and Jigba, a Tyler Lockett, Kenny Walker, and a Charbonnet, and a good offensive line, all you need is somebody back there that can just distribute the rock effectively and not make mistakes to the point that they actually can win games without anything super spectacular happening. This is the Brock Purdy method. This is how Brock Purdy has been successful. This is why San Francisco is pulling their hair out trying to figure out if we're going to pay Brock Purdy $50 to $60 million because Dak got 60. So this is that game, man. And when we watch it, you have to watch it. Quinn Ewers, Will Howard, Riley Leonard, Drew Allers. You can keep going through naming all these quarterbacks, but these are quarterbacks that actually can play on the next level.
We will find out. So we are running out of time here, so thank you guys for tuning in and watching Northwest Sports Talk 206 every Saturday at 12:30. You can also follow us on we have our Facebook group, Northwest Sports Talk 206 Facebook page. We also have our YouTube. We also have our TikTok. Follow the TikTok as well, Northwest Sports Talk 206.
7 days.
It's like 7 days. That's right. So from Lavelle, Scott, Mr. Prim, until next time, we're talking sports, having fun. God bless. I guess you're the producer now, executive producer. You got to hit the button. You know, you're a kid on the elevator. I just want to hit the button. That's how Prim is. That's Northwest Sports Talk.
My turn. I don't think they're going.